Hello everyone and welcome back to VALORANT Challengers North America Stage 1. We're on day 2 of our very first week of competition and already expectations have been set so high. We had an amazing first day out here, and if you missed it, don't worry, we still have some fantastic matchups today. My name is Sierra Dawn. I'll be your host for this week, but of course I cannot do it alone, and joining me today, well, I have Lemon Kiwi, and I have the man Van Silly himself. Emphasis on the silly over there.
That's so creepy.
Actually,
that
silly
is me.
for both of y'all. Y'all are coordinated on this. How are we doing today, friends?
How'd you know that? How'd you know I was gonna do this, Lemon Kiwi?
Dude, I just started copying because you look like a serial killer with your eyes like doing this.
You know what?
It's terrifying.
At night, whenever I'm trying to look around, I actually open my eyes like this, and when my wife wakes up, she's like, "You're scaring me. Just stop putting your eyes like that." It's all like, okay.
We're getting Laura right out the gate. I didn't expect this one. I'm not gonna lie.
You said silly. You said silly.
That's my
true.
fault. That's my fault. But let's get a little silly with our today's matches, because there's definitely a lot to be talking about here. I know there's definitely quite a few teams that we had our eyes on when we were talking about Challenger Split 1. And out of the gate, we're going to be starting with them today. We're going to be starting with M80 going up against TSM, and probably one of the most anticipated matchups that we had. We started off with a very anticipated matchup yesterday. We got great matches, and we're just keeping that momentum rolling today.
Yeah, yesterday's games were actually quite excellent to kick things off. I think seeing that Moist X Shopify game was super fun to watch and witness versus OXG. The second, maybe a little bit to be desired, at least the first and third map, but at least we had something challenging between SAD Esports and Winthrop. But at least for today, another great anticipated matchup, because we have finally the return of M80 and the return of Nitro to Valorant too.
I was not expecting that Winthrop match, by the way, to go to 3. It kind of got goofy, got really hilarious. I had a great time watching Mitch and Wyatt, and then it went to overtime, and then me and Van Silly were co-streaming, so we're like, oh, I guess we're going to be here all night. 2 map 3s is great to see this early in the competition.
Can confirm, was here all night, but definitely worth it. I'd rather have these types of matches coming out from Challengers than the alternative, which was a good night's sleep. So it's some good stuff, but we got to talk about today's matchup. We're going to be kicking off with this, so we're going to be wide awake and energized for this M80 and TSM match, and there's so much to be diving into with these rosters. Of course, we got to see a lot of these players play out last year, Kiwi, and in a lot of different regards. This M80 squad is a very known quantity with a couple of new pieces, but this TSM roster is hot. It's exciting.
Yes, and it's my first time here. I do game changers usually, and I'm not used to the player photos. Everyone looks so mean.
And handsome.
Because in game changers, everyone's smiling, putting up peace signs, and I think everybody on both of these rosters could beat me up. 7 is like already ready to throw down, but like getting to the serious point, everyone knows M80. They did very well last year in Challengers. They won the mid-season invitational playoffs. Then there are these vacant spots came in, and some really exciting players came in. Apparently one guy named Captain America, at least that's what the comments have been saying. His name is Captain America.
Yeah.
Maybe he's built like that, but Nitro's exciting, Vans.
Used to have a shield there for Team Liquid back then in the CSGO days, actually, which is why he was coined the Captain America, and of course, leading 100 Thieves to a victory over at First Strike back in 2020. So he's got a huge tenure in professional play in Valorant and in Counter-Strike. Now coming back into a roster of M80 that should have been there into partnership this year round, but lost to the guard back then as well, now known as G2. So I think that's why we have some very mean faces in these player pictures today, because they have a point to prove this season in Challengers.
100%, and that's going to be the exciting thing to look out for, because there is a universe out there where M80 was the team that won Ascension, that would be playing in Americas right now, but losing out to the Guard, a team that they were back and forth with during the entire season. And of course, with this core group coming back to the squad for M80, it'll be really excited to see Xander, Zizmo, and Walanoob try and go back for that glory here, Lemon.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of hype behind Nitro, who was part of that huge bunch of pros that came in 2020, had a good start, then less so, then left and, you know, explored other titles, and now he's back. And this is so much weight on that guy's shoulders to come in, and you have such a big name, you have such a big reputation. Is this worth the signing? You know, you're going to have the comments, is he washed or is he back to his prime?
Agreed.
Especially in Valorant with the pros that have just evolved since his time, Vans. And that's why Nitro is got a lot of pressure on him today.
He's no stranger to it, at least, if we could put it that way as well. But I do agree with you, Lemon Cutie, because at this point, you're filling the shoes of John Cutie. And John Cutie, over at M80, drove this core roster from like Ghost Gaming back then with Kaplan, and now reuniting with Kaplan. And look at what he's doing with Sentinels right now. So yes, Nitro is Captain America that we coined him for, but is he going to be able to save at least the Americas for challengers under the M80 roster? Can he actually say, I could do this all day and bring the rest of the M80 roster back into the Ascension and then hopefully win that one under the M80 banner to see him in partnership? Like I said, it's big shoes to fill. John Cutie has excellent firepower, and that still has to be questioned, though, for Nitro's return into Valorant tonight.
And then BCJ is the other person filling that extra slot. And he made his debut with EG last year, but then got moved to reserve roster, was able to make the run Masters Tokyo and Champions, and, you know, had some good results, but then noticed that he had to play a lot of his matches in Brazil. And after only 2 matches in Americas, he got moved to the reserve roster in place of Demon 1. So I always root for the underdog. That person has something to prove, and he wants to prove that he deserves to be on a main roster, that he should have been the star of the show. And we all know how talented Demon 1 is, but now we get to see BCJ in that spotlight, I guess alongside Captain America. But hey, excited to see how he performs.
So many tales of redemption when we're looking at this M80 squad, but we got to talk about TSM as well, because looking at this squad, it might be, hey, they're just announcing that they're coming into this, looking at the team. We don't necessarily know too much of this whole squad together, but pulling up this tweet that we have from them, new faces, old friends, same goal. And old friends, Vans, is such a big key part of this, because when we're looking at the players of this roster, previously at Outside Boys, these are some talented players that have been in the scene and have proved their worth.
100%, and it's the return of GMD, Guimau, and Seven as well in the TSM roster for 2024. When you're looking at how they did in Challengers when they were competing back then with, you know, trying to make the run with Nature, currently IGLing for EG, they were like, okay, mid-pack kind of thing, but they're also still the roster. They were like the gatekeepers of preventing other chances for, you know, the other teams under VCL to try to make it into playoffs. Because right now, if you're looking at the VCL, you're pretty much kind of seeing, okay, MXS, OXG, and M80 at the top, and everybody kind of like fighting for that 4th place, at least for now. I'm hoping to be proven wrong in this roster here for TSM to see them now, but that's the thing. There's a lot of question marks into this roster as well. You have, for a couple of these players, if not all of these players, something to prove, which should be the tagline for tonight. But also, who's going to be IGLing for this team now? With Poise coming in from FaZe's experience, maybe he could be calling in tandem with GMD as well. You know, Poise is usually known to, or, you know, praises himself to be really good on mid-round calling, understanding the rotations during those mid-roundings. So will that change the play style of TSM, where they're going to default a little bit more and have GMD try to start the beginning structure? I mean, at least you have that in terms of, you know, brains for the roster, but you have definitely some heavy firepower with the rest.
Yeah, you bring up these question marks, but I think someone like Poise is the exact solution to all the mystery behind this team. Like, you brought up his time on FaZe, had those good results, and then in 2023, not so much, missing out on Ascension and then finishing below top 6. That really hurts. But now, kind of a similar story to BCJ. I feel like you're coming into this team, hoping to get back to your prime, get back to your peak. And looking at just kind of his agent pool, he's been that flexible guy. Like, on FaZe, Poise was the Sentinel, the secondary controller for Split 2, but then in Split 1 he was playing a lot of initiator. So Poise seems like the guy who's trying to fill out the roles where people are less comfortable on. And when you have someone dependable like that, whether he's calling or not, Poise is the exact guy you want on your roster. But back on mid-phase or back outside Boys on this former roster, he was Sentinel, so he can just kind of play it all, it seems. So I'm excited to watch Poise.
That's the big thing, though. Again, looking at this TSM roster, it's because what are, like, we talk usually about role issues. I don't necessarily think think it's role issues now looking at this roster, but more who's finalizing to play as who at this point. Will we have basically Sim being that duelist, or will Seven want to try to do that again based on what he's done in the past? At least one person for sure, at least for me, I hope, is seeing Alex Protopapas, a Proto, back in the roster right now. And,
oh, yeah.
You know, he's cracked on a Cypher. He's really good on a Viper. And this is perfect for the meta right now, at least in 2024, as we start the season, that you have a lot of these maps and these agents that are quite prominent in these agent rotations, agent compositions, where a Proto is going to bring a lot to the table for the TSM team.
Well, especially too, on this roster, we have 2 members from that Moist Mogul squad last year that was able to kind of defy expectations. We got to see so much out of them, Sim and a Proto, and Proto was just absolutely cracked last year. Honestly, such a good anchor for the team. I think the biggest question for this team is what we're going to see out of them today, if this is going to be hitting the ground hard, or if we still need a little bit of adjustment time for the team to kind of mesh. So I'm excited to get into that, but of course we have to get into our map picks and bans, see where we're going for today's series. We have so much on the M80 in the past, but it's been a little bit since we've seen them play. And for TSM, well, Kiwi, to start it off, they're going to take us to Lotus.
Lotus is always a fun one, and this is, I think, a good tone setter for this entire series. And really, this is their first match. Everyone's debuting here in Challengers, and I think the duelist role that Vans brought up is going to be really key for a roster like TSM. The Seven versus Sim duelist, who is going to be taking that? Seven seems like he's got the most time on Jet, while as maybe Sim prefers Raze. I've seen rosters in the past kind of divvy up these duelist roles, but TSM have maybe a lot to figure out, a lot to show us, and map 1 is where we set that.
This is where it's very interesting that M80 is taking Lotus as their first map pick, because if I'm looking at this M80 roster and I want to come out strong, I would like to pick maps where I'm favoring a lot of Jet in my composition so that Koala Noob could really start popping off. Usually on a map like Lotus here, Koala Noob's going to switch out to play controller roles so that Nismo could be the one playing the Raze. Although, if now I'm looking at how TSM and M80 might want to have a slower start on a map like Lotus, you have a 3-site map, and you're allowing your big brains as Nitro and Poise to really work that mid-round and really run bigger defaults and just ease yourself into the series. And then once everybody's warmed up, well, then you get into Icebox and Breeze, where you could actually have Koala Nudes just start popping off on a Jet, and then you could see that it kind of favors M80 in this map pool so far, at least in how we ended up here in this series.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap of roles, as you pointed out, on the M80 roster. You got BCJ, who played controller on EG. You got Xander, who was the main controller for M80. And even Koala Noob has a lot of time on Omen with Cookin' Papas. I love the name. But I wanted to throw the Cookin' Papas out there because that's great. A lot of controller, a lot of smokes. And, you know, there are the maps that call for double controller. But how do you organize these rosters when you got new people coming in? And that's what the first match is all about. And that's kind of the same mindset, Vans, that we're coming into this match of like, it's the first match. Take a chill. Let's start from the beginning. Let's learn. Let's progress and not expect perfection.
I kind of want to know what the cooking papas are actually cooking when I know they're most likely on average age of like 17, 18. When myself as a papa, the only thing I'm really putting is like instant ramen and pizza pops in my microwave. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're a father.
Bad dad jokes.
Exactly. I have no time to cook.
Oh, okay. I hope
All
so.
right. Well, looking at what these teams could be cooking, to be kicking things out, especially with the fact that we haven't necessarily gotten to see the most from them as of recently. Do we have any things that we think based off of tendencies with his players here, Vance, especially looking at TSM, maybe that we could talk about before we get into our agent select?
Yeah, I think if we want to look at TSM, it's probably not using a Cypher at this point as well. As I mentioned, you're trying to plug some players into like roles that are at least, you know, confident and true for at least a TSM squad. I would assume you would have a Proto starting to play a little bit more of a Viper role so that he could actually do a little bit of lurk plays, Poise. Usually IGL, and if I remember, his phase day was doing a lot of sky calling under the IGL role, so I wouldn't be surprised if he starts fade IGLing. You're going to see a little bit more like I said, players are easing into the series, despite them having some great coaching staff between both teams. I'm talking about Happy for M80 and Shinobi, by the way, for TSM. if I'm not mistaken here, I think it's Shinobi. I could be wrong on that one, actually. I'm going to have to look back at my notes. Nonetheless, they have a coaching system at that point where you kind of just want to run into your confident roles and your easy roles, right? If you're looking at the meta define or how you're defining the meta on Lotus, there's a lot of like this double controller fade or Sky, depending how you want to run your single initiator. But you're going into something that's a little bit more tamed, if I could put it that way. And I think you want to start it like that.
I think both these teams may just fall back on old comforts like the Sky, because a lot of these players kind of, even if they weren't initiator players, they picked up Sky to kind of help flex for their team. And I'm not seeing as much playtime of the Fade when it comes out of Poise. It's like 10th most played agent at like 3%. And on the other side, yeah, same thing, just a lot more Sky time, with Nismo having like 85 rounds on, or 85 games on Sky, a lot more preference towards that. So we'll see if there'll be any Fade action, and really who's going to pick up these duelist roles. It's so exciting to watch these teams for the first match, because the box of chocolates.
And my apologies, it's actually Faded that's coaching right now for TSM, as I'm checking my notes again. So he's been assistant coaching, working in tandem with, I guess, Poise at this point, because his history is back with FaZe. So they probably have that type of like inkling and ease of working together to be able to cook something up. But again, just trying to perfect min-max, maybe the basic compositions, more than trying to cook some out-of-the-box kind of thing. So
yeah,
I don't think we're going to get too many chocolates. It's just going to be some tame
of the
vanilla stuff.
coconut-filled chocolates there.
Don't give me some coconut sprinkles.
Oh,
I'd
my
rather
goodness.
have pineapple on my pizza.
I'd like to see something a bit more regular coming out from TSM, because last year in Challengers, we did get to see some squads of really, really talented players come together, and some rosters that you would think would be super rosters, and their just coordination wasn't there. I don't know at what point it started falling apart, but we got to see some really great players end up near that bottom of the team leaderboard and stuff. So I want to see kind of going back to basics here, to be kicking things off. I want to make sure, Kiwi, that they have their foundation set before they get too far ahead of themselves.
And this is the first match where you set that foundation. But I just wanted to point out, Vans, there are so many Canadians. This is the most amount of Canadians that I've seen in one time. Where have you all been? Yeah, no, like playing. I mean, Koala Noob, Nismo, Xander are all Canadians. I mean, you and I are cool too, but like
Sierra's also Canadian. We're all Canadian here too as well.
GMD, Poise, we're all just gonna get super biased. It's the Canadian battle going on.
And that's what I'm saying. We got Phoenix. That's probably one of the best watch partiers that we currently have in Valorant from his IGL tenure and NRG, along with. I was gonna say Tarek, of course. You can't miss out on Tarek as a watch partier, but he's not Canadian. He'd be ordinary Canadian.
Or did you say ordinary Canadian?
No, honorary.
Or honorary. Okay, I was like...
Honorary. I'm trying to get my 3 accents in,
Okay. I'm making sure here. No, Canadian takeover, for sure over here. I don't know if it's snowing where y'all are at, but it definitely is here in Canadian fashion.
Yeah, that's what I'll talk about.
I'm in a desert.
It's supposed to be spring right now, but forget it. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to spring, snow. That's how it works here in Canada.
Yeah, it's been 3 days straight, honestly, kind of over it. But no, I'm really excited to be getting into things. But of course, we do want to make sure all of our players are ready. So we're going to be taking a quick break before we get started with our first match of the day, M80 against TSM.
It's time, everybody, to get into our first match between M80 TSM. Welcome back. We'll see what kind of welcome back this is for a team like TSM or to the new members of M80 joining. We're going to Lotus first.
Yeah. Like I said, I think once we preface this matchup here, Lemon Kiwi, at the same time, when you're looking at these two teams, I don't necessarily think that we have one team that's really stronger than the other with how much we've lost in terms of firepower with John Cutie and EU going to Sentinels and Energy respectively. I'm not saying that they're going to be 15 steps behind, but there's definitely a big adjustment period right now for Nitro and for BCJ in this roster. But of course, these two teams, I'm pretty sure they've been in the lab since the offseason. We've seen zero footage of these two teams during the offseason, so I'm pretty sure they've used that time to perfect this right now. And as you're looking at it, like I said, we mentioned it, we wanted to ease into things into a more meta comp where you have one team that's going to be using a Fade versus another team that's going to be using a Sky, being M80 with the Fade respectively here.
Yeah, that's BCJ was the big one I wanted to watch for M80 because his role has been all over the place, like from controller when he was subbed in on EG to some Sky Cypher when he was on the ex-EG reserve roster, but his most amount of time played was on that initiator role where maybe he's more of a Sova main and maybe Sky. So this is a newer look for BCJ, at least according to his time played on the Fade.
Yeah, exactly. I guess when he first started playing over in the Exit days, he was doing a lot of Silva role, and then once in a while in a Blue Moon, I think he had this moment where he popped off, or I think I remember on an Ascent as Omen, and it now shows that he could actually flex a little bit more into any type of like controller type or initiator type role. So going into this one here, it's nothing new for him to play the Fade, but it's looking at least the rest. Poise IGLing as a Killjoy on this map. It's okay as well. He's done some Sentinels role before. So if you're looking at overall, both of these teams really in their comfort zone. Nitro, you can see it now. He's literally filling into John Cutie's shoes, playing a Sentinel role, IGLing as well. But we're kicking things off. M80 versus TSM. Pissed around with TSM on the attack, focusing again on this type of default that you have. This wall is going to come up on the A side. He's going to try to listen for some information that this is a proto, while the rest are going to try to find some mountain control and try to punish a push outside of B main.
Oh, we got the Skybird off the bat. Let it rip. Oh, someone is mid. Someone will be on this map at some point. But TSM just looking to shake them up a bit mid. And look, M80 3-stack mid, have their Viper wall up. What's up? And TSM playing this so slow. We don't know where we're going. You don't know where we're going.
And that's the thing here with BCJ putting out the first Prowler. So both of these initiators using the Prowler and the Flash for initiation and information at the early round and at the minute mark. With this orb coming up and also the ult orb picked up by Sim, you could still pivot around the map. But that single piece of util really flushed out a lot of the players from M80 to focus on this B2C side, while they want to focus more on a retake play on the A side, because that's where Nitro's set up with his util. So he doesn't really care about the lurk or the pushes that you have on the A side. He's just going to find information off the alarm bot and really try to delay with the nanoswarm and just hold stairs so that the rest could rotate. And they have a perfect read into this so far.
Yeah, BCJ just threw a Prowler out, got nothing at C, and this immediately called for the 3-man rotation from M80 all the way to A. It's been a little too quiet. Let's keep running around the map. TSM,
30 seconds
well, their
left.
Real estate has been their spawn. Now there's 30 seconds left. That's where the smokes of this Viper no longer is sealing down C. It's going to come back up, and satcheling it is Sim. The headshot out to Xander. Good morning to that person. Now TSM.
Headshot.
Yeah, flying headshot. What game is this again? But he got the plant on. Well, actually, it got canceled by the paint shells of Nismo. And M80 are here to dance. Great shots out of Nismo, picking out the second one. And TSM are dead in the water.
Okay, so we're still seeing some good little residue of the Ghost Gaming roster and playstyle of the Fade and the Raze combination of the Wombo combo to even see some players get some paint shells and deny plant. It looked, at least from the get-go, that TSM had a perfect read of running the map around. We talked about the mid-rounding that's going to be very, very crucial for both of these teams, and Poise is good at that. The only thing, though, as they were circling around the map, was all through incognito information, which means that you haven't used or wasted any of M80's utility while you're working the map, which then gave so much for them to be able to return and retake the map against TSM. So a great way to start things off for M80. TSM, they got to bleed that utility a little bit more.
It's great to see how comfortable Nismo is on the race, and Koala Noob, speaking of that, usually picks up the Jet, and they trade roles perfectly, and not even needing to trade kills. M80 with that first shot with the Outlaw, which is so strong, and you got a Judge from Xander, which is probably going to hang around mid, but how are they going to cross to these different sites if this gets more longer range? Not going to be so fun with the Judge. TSM, bodies on the floor over at C. Let's go to the opposite side, A. Now the Viper walls are up. TSM got to take their time with this. BCJ throwing out the hunt. Is going to know TSM are around and lurking. And over at Baby Door Cross, BCJ gets some picks, and TSM are losing people before the spike is even planted.
Yeah, actually it was a C's that gets the info, so he can still use his haunt for info. The retake is not even needed. I mean, look at that. The utility is still very good, and the firepower is still very good for M80. And you see it from Koala Noob. You've mentioned it here, Jen, where you have jets. You know, whenever you have a chance, you put your duelist on a jet. But if you're playing a race map, the ones that are usually playing jet that are flexing out to a initiator / controller role, they're also very comfortable to use a type of rifle like this, like the Outlaw, like the Operator, still TP away to safety, playing as an Omen. And Koala Noob has tweeted this out after Ascension at some point, or even while he was looking for a team after the Ghost Gaming days. He's like, I still want to be the best duelist player / opper in the world, in North America, in the Americas. And he's already proved it with a nice shot at the beginning here on that C mound. So they're going to have to be ready for this TSM. You're looking at this buy, at least thankfully all of them except for one have full shield, so the Outlaw's not going to do too much damage, at least in terms of one shot, one kills. But it's definitely going to allow here M80 to push out aggressively towards this A side. Combine, take the orb, control the A side, and rubble so that the rest is still delayed. This Viper KJ utility on the C side.
Yeah, smart for M80. You don't have the ranged rifles. You're not going to peek through C mound. So TSM just grabbing the orb, sure. Waiting for this orb to maybe go away. No, satcheling right in. TSM had luck with this before, and blood has been spilled. Showstopper from Nismo. Now he's got his second kill. M80 are evening things up, but a Proto with 2 might have just saved the day for TSM. It's a 2 versus 1. Koala Noob has the Outlaw. Is going to be coming through the top of sight, and the spike will be planted at the corner. TSM have to play their lives. Paranoia out. It's going to pick up a better rifle, and that's just a good plan for Koala Noob, especially in these close range quarters, to have the Guardian. One's going to be to his right. He's being quiet with it. Can't find the flank, and TSM on the board. Nice
jiggle by Poise. Just had a sixth sense and wanted to do like the quick sidestep to get the pick, but you definitely saw at that point what they were trying to do for M80. Control the orb, get Nismo the ult, because he was popping off in the first 2 rounds with the amount of kills that he had with the Guardians, with the Pain Shells, with support, to even do a lot of damage in their bonus round versus TSM. Almost a winnable condition, but thankfully when Sim entered the site, just like he did in that pistol round, it was him alone, so he was able to eat all of the damage from that Showstopper and allow the rest of TSM to play a good pulse plan. Nonetheless, M80, they have a full gun round, half shields this time around. TSM also a full rifle, as there's pressure on the A side, some pings, and a battle potentially to ensue.
Now it's a party on the dance floor over at the A entry, the A lobby area. TSM didn't even take damage, so they did manage to take control of rubble. They can poke around at tree. Gonna use Skydog to get going. Satchel Boombot. TSM taking space, and they found a lot more success on their offense when they did not hesitate. I don't think you can out macro M80 based on how good their rotations have been, but as soon as TSM slow down even a little bit, M80 start to take positions around them. M80 are at Baby Door, and TSM getting smoked out, trying to break through tree. Spike carriers leading the way in 8. The bullets with the forehead. But hey, the spike is still hidden with the smoke, so this is maybe still doable from TSM. But they have to rally together, and the kills are just not going their way.
No, not at all. It almost looked like it was a mistake from that first player that pointed the gun outside of the smoke into the tree side before he got picked off, but I think it was an idea to try to see if somebody was going to try to pre-fire a shot from the boxes. Did not expect somebody just outside of that smoke. And right here, Koala Noob did a great job just holding outside of the smoke, being that kill against 7, who was trying to peek out, and they were just trying to see where the heavy defense was going to lean here for M80 on that A side. And TSM, I mean, they came in for a full surprise. After that first kill, M80 flooded back in, and TSM, unfortunately, couldn't really answer back, as you just mentioned. Thankfully here, they're really close to be able to cycle some ults in round number 5. So now it's just working together, trying to see if they could at least get a plant down for some econ information, or sorry, some economy building. And as you do this on an eco, B side seems to be the play that they want to do here to break this util and get in for a plant.
Yeah, I think you gotta conserve your sky flashes as much as possible. And well, the spike is out again. TSM have just not been able to establish themselves, but GMD is a one-man army and looking to teleport with the spike. No, it's a fake. Still is gonna maybe try to plant at B.
He definitely just TP just to pick it up, and that's actually a great call because everybody rotated away to let the spike go after GMD got those 2 kills. So now it's actually very winnable for GMD. One smoke dropped on the ground. He has no paranoia. Nismo and Xander have a bunch of util for B main, so GMD has to be on point with the shots as soon as this toxic wall comes down.
And everyone likes to defend B, especially in a solo situation at Baby Door's side. So I think a lot of M80's attention may be to clear that room, as GMD is hidden on the other side of the Viper wall. Now the spike has been tapped. Not even gonna get to halfway. Nismo has the lineup, and M80 are on a roll.
Just a move from M80 on that 2 versus 1 was perfect, because the wall that came up and you heard the fuel was about to come down, and I was like, oh no, Xander might get caught. But you look at the position, Nismo was looking straight into the entrance of B. Xander positioned himself behind his wall out of an angle where even if Nismo dies, it's an instant trade from a swing out from Xander. So the communication coming out from M80, from what they've been working on throughout the offseason, still shows that they have a very good game plan and good fundamentals going into their opening game against TSM. So at least we get a plant for TSM, as we mentioned before. The ult cycle is coming out. They have a lockdown and a showstopper to work with. All 5 of them are trying to work towards this A side, where C's nade and more utility is coming out here on this A side. Actually, sorry, no nades coming through. C was still being held here by Nismo on that C side with a showstopper. How does he have a showstopper again, by the way?
Just that guy. His pronouns are he, him, obviously. So TSM, I mean, they throw a bucket of utils just to get that rubble control. Now the sight lines are clear, staring at each other. No one wants to show face. TSM, last time they went down this route, they opened through tree, really depended on Sim for the entry, especially when you use your sky flash so early. But now that they have another flash available, they're not feeling the A side. That kind of gathered a lot of M80's attention over there. So, gonna use the dog over at C. But that's a loud dog. M80 heard that, and now they are ready for it.
And that's the thing. There are instant pivoting right now for M80. It's the call for TSM to see if they're going to fall back on this or not. And that's a nice showstopper to come out. At least it drops 1, but now they know it's confirmed it's a fake no matter what. Usually with a dog coming out, it's like when you have to commit towards the C side, at least they waste out the showstopper for TSM, which could allow for them to take the A side a little bit better with the Seekers.
Left.
Oh, the paranoia, Xander, and the Seekers. M80, can Xander get out? He can't. The trade, Nitro wasn't ready. And TSM break through after an extended delay, but the spike didn't get planted. TSM have 2 people left, a Proto, GMD, with Nismo holding the top site, and it's all up to 1. GMD, 1 versus 2. Koala Noob with the paranoia, picks up the shorty instead of the op. And GMD, okay. Position revealed. Ring around the rosy. Who's gonna lose? Death is the reward. And looked at the wrong time. M80 pick up another round.
A second time where GMD at this point could have had some redemption. Had the perfect timing to get behind him and somehow just felt that there was somebody on the top of the ropes. And he flicks over to that side and just gives his position away, and also couldn't get his crosshair placement to win that 1v1. He would have backstabbed both of them to get that clutch, but unfortunately, it's still M80's round. But this guy right here, Nismo, is popping off this game so far. He's got 2 showstoppers already. I don't know how many paint shells he's had every single round, but this man is a living proof as to why he was one of the best players in Challengers, and also why he deserves a partnership spot, but also decline these positions because he believes in what M80 has. And that this core right here now, despite these 2 changes that they've had in the roster, they still have what it takes to win Ascension this year. And it shows right now that he really wants to have a strong start and a strong victory in the first split.
How about the show get started? Wait, how did that not hit anybody? Sim but sacrificing his life for the trade, and now you got a collab with the from Koala Noob as the door opens, making a third. M80 make quick work of that round.
And there you go, the coming out from Koala Noob from an outlaw. I mean, he had the round before, but now they finally know for TSM that Koala is bringing it out this time around. And he gets a collat and a 3K out of that. And that's also something that I'm loving from Koala Noob. When I was watching Koala Noob back in those gaming days with that Nismo, the Brock, the Proto, and the John Cutie roster, I was actually not too fond of his chamber play. But when he didn't have to play a chamber anymore and play this role of an Omen op and a Jet aggressive type of play style, he's been popping off in this role as well, and support of what he has with M80. I mean, they've been working right now with Nismo for the past like 2-3 years now. So that's definitely going to allow for you to be a little bit more comfortable in your role as well as you develop as a strong duo. And Xander, I can't forget about Xander in this roster now with M80. So yeah, I mean, this only proves a point that you need this timeout for TSM. They don't really have an answer as to how M80 is currently holding their defense. If it's Koala Noob that they have to face first, they're getting up down. If they have to play a pulse plant, they're not holding the pulse plant because M80's utility continues to be perfect with the floods. So they have to potentially figure out how they could really try to fight against that amount of utility that M80 has at the beginning of the round, like the first minute mark.
Sorry, I giggled. My bad. You're usually a hilarious person, but I was actually
funny analysis, silly.
Funny, but 7. Okay, I know we don't like talking about KDA, but 7 is 0-7. So there was no flame. It's just like it matches the name. So hoping for 7 more kills to follow. And this is a quick push for TSM. Already shut down. Koala Noob got the first blood last time. Got a paranoia up. Put back. TSM. They still want to cook over at Sand, and they're getting blown up. What a paint shell from Nismo. 7 gets 3.
There you go. That's what you get.
That's halfway to 7.
Calling him out. That's what you get for calling him out.
About time. I need 4 more. All right. TSM. There's not 4 more people left, but an Up and an Odin. I think that's winnable for TSM. They did get the plant down. Rotations coming in through top.
Yeah, but M80 has a lockdown, and an Odin spray would be perfect right here, too. So already the first one. Oh, the shot's coming across, the snake bite to come through. And now they're going to double up, and this is going to be perfect right here to just hold this lockdown. And because the cross came over, they know the rotate's coming towards A Heaven. They can just focus on here, on C Heaven, rather.
One enemy remaining.
The high-low with the Odin up. That's the new strat. Nitro comes out on top, sacrificing Xander's, I guess kind of was his meat shield in that case. And Nitro's excited, gets the defuse from M80 when that looked like a salvageable round for TSM after what 7 did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice call for TSM to try to fight against that lockdown, maybe punish Nitro at that point. But as soon as that window of opportunity is closed, then you definitely saw that turning point that allowed M80 to really win that round with how they work together. But even at the beginning of this round for M80, they've rotated the op from Koala Noob to Nitro so that he could opt towards the A side, and then Koala Noob could actually paranoid support a C's Nate from Nismo and from BCJ once again that actually had contact and success on the mound. I haven't seen so many contacts of C's Nates in such a long time. I'm actually bricked up about this of how good their utility is right now for M80. So I'm actually really looking forward to the rest of the season so far. I mean, it's too soon to talk. We're only map number 1, but M80 definitely looks unstoppable so far in their defensive half.
And now that we're like bilingual, we get to actually use our French to like secretly communicate within each other. And I was actually teaching chat the other day that brick in French is just brick, but with an accent. Brick.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. Brick. Well, there's an early pit. There's an early pit over at C. And I would teach you my TikTok meme about I finna be in the pit, but it's too cringe for right now. Maybe Sarah will laugh with me later. But TSM looking at this pit like, I want to get all up in that. And I don't know, I'm kind of criticizing it because the last couple of times of C did not go well for TSM.
Could still be pretty decent right now, though, because 7 just picked up the Seekers, and I was going to say, they could use this right away and start using util to break the cage of util. Now you find information of where both players are at on C, but they weren't close enough to get damaged, so they're just going to pull away. But there was an opportunity there for them to potentially try to shut down that stack towards that C side because of those Seekers, but now with 30 seconds left, you're gambling towards B.
30 seconds left.
Okay, lockdown. B is theirs. But waiting for that to take its full effect, kind of hanging out, throwing in some util, the sky flash, getting some intel, M80. respecting that space, ready for the retake. TSM have a window of opportunity. They have to take it. It's a nightfall from the defense, but BCJ sacrifices their life for it. So the spike did not get planted. They have 4 seconds left. It might just be up to kills.
They got it.
Koala Noob loses the up, and the spike is planted in time. Xander, 1v2, dancing around. We hear ya. Around the corner is one. Crossfire for TSM. This is a big round for them to get some redemption, and forces out the swing. 28 HP in a dream, and that is dead. TSM take a round.
Xander is so calm under pressure. I saw that coming from a mile away with that. When he threw that orb down, somebody was going to try to swing out, and that was poised right around the corner. And he had the perfect angle to isolate those 2 1v1s. Xander came out, or GMD came out. You saw the spray miss on the first time. That was an opportunity for Xander to come out and punish on that second time. But then GMD at least is able to close that out and save it there for TSM. An expensive round for them to win, though. They got the second round on the board on this half for TSM, but they're still broke as a joke. 2 small shields, 1 Spectre. They have some okay ults, but Nismo, his 3rd rocket already in the half.
It's not the size of your armor, it's what you do with it, right? TSM, let's see how safe they can really play. Sky Flash over in mid, but when TSM take these slow, fake, delay approaches, M80 still download everything. They're very much leaning to the right side of the map. TSM now have another flash they could try to take Rubble with, or no, they're going to use the dog to do so. No one's hanging up there, so maybe a safe cross for TSM.
Yeah, definitely an opportunity to take Rubble control, but at the same time, they still have to be wary and careful when you walk up, because I mentioned this is also Nismo, who was trying to peek up at first, jump peeking at as well, and now with that shot, you know that there's still pressure towards the A side. Where does he pivot? Towards the A side, so it could actually help out with a showstopper. The more that they're waiting TSM to hit towards this A side, the more they're going to get owned by this rocket. And it may seem here at this point that you might scale up to A, break the baby door, and try to plant towards the B, depending what Poise gets out of value. And he spots right now that swing out from Nitro, wastes out that utility, and an opportunity here to try to go for that A to B.
Okay. We got TSM opening the B door just to get some attention, and it's a quick push for TSM through tree. Showstoppers exchanged. No show has been stopped. TSM have 15 seconds. It's really coming down to the wire, but the crossfire from M80 hoses them all down. GMD can maybe make entry, but Sim has like 2 HP left and a 1v3. It may be possible. A few more seconds left. Can they get the plant off? It happened, but not for long.
Yep, not for long at all. And again, Nismo just waiting ADSing from that corner. If it was a jiggle, he was instantly there, ready to go for the spray. If not, his teammate was there for a trade once again. But that showstopper that didn't get any value, at least was good enough to slow down the paranoia that was thrown from tree. That could have actually hit like 2 or 3 players over at M80 on that A side. But then a beautiful haunt was thrown there by BCJ. It really slowed down TSM on that last minute hit that they're trying to do towards that A side. And really, again, it's just I'm like a broken record right now. There's really no answering to TSM's type of M80's defense so far, except here.
Not bad. TSM maybe got their first blood, but it was immediately traded, so you're not feeling great. But with the difference of buys right now, maybe you're not expecting much out of this round if you're TSM, but with the showstopper, the dog, Koala Noob is dodging and is fighting his demons right now, but managed to safely go back to the site. TSM really caused a ruckus at C. Do they still feel committed? Last time TSM went to C, though, that door got open and they got crunched by M80, so they gotta be aware of this. And as soon as they even try again, 7 gets picked off. This is not looking good.
At all. Even at this point when they're trying to open the door on the B side, just on the other end, it's a judge. And just keeps it cool. That's also spiked down. Good luck, Sim.
This is my favorite map to play judge on. And Xander, I'm taking notes. This is what the pros do. Heck yeah. Give me that judge. Give me mid. Give me a corner. Give me a box to crouch beside. Xander shutting down that rotation to B was huge. TSM, it's a tough offense for sure, but hey, we could be all pitted up at one of these sites. We'll see if that gives them a boon.
And it's tough too when you're looking at TSM's camp so far. Yes, they're under a known entity and a known organization where they're currently playing under as, but you know, this is also a roster that was put together maybe in the last couple of weeks or something like that too. There's been some conversation about that roster could be looking like, but this is what we have so far, and they actually have to try to adapt on the fly pretty much at this point because nothing's working.
I like that teleport from Koala Noob. At least GMD was ready for the trade. 4v4 TSM. They really like to just take their time and almost stress us out. Like, they didn't even get to plant the spike in one of the rounds. That's how long they took. So TSM, I'd like them to get comfortable with these faster executes. Maybe that could be how you punish the macro out of M80. But so far, it's a 4 versus 4. TSM want to knock on the door to trade possibly, but want to deal with this player around Baby Door, and Nitro is making the call, watching them go by. You gotta check your corners, kids. An easy double for Nitro.
2 rounds in a row where they haven't checked the box, but thankfully at least it's traded off a 2 versus 2. They have open sight for TSM. They have a plant. Unfortunately, no ults coming through from the plant, but at least they have position until Xander potentially gets his backstab.
Last player standing.
Oh no, you can't choke that. You cannot do that, Xander. Great turn by 7. It's a 1v1, and Poised comes out on top. TSM, man, when they take rounds, it's by the skin of their teeth.
Switching sides.
Yeah. And Elisa, you're going to be able to find some silver lining at the end. You got 3 rounds potentially now. The TSM style here. Yeah, you're just going to try to do any type of like voodoo magic to hopefully get the 9th week curse on your side and bring it back. But at the same time, they actually only got 3 rounds on the attack. And this is going to prove a little bit more difficult for them to hold their defense here when they're playing a Sky as well on defense. You can't delay as well as you would have with the Season 8 combos that we've been consistently seeing coming out of BCJ and Nismo. So they had to figure out some sort of game plan around these flashes that could get them some better control on the aggression that they want to potentially do in their gun round if we get to the point that they can have a good gun round here, because it's a 9-3, you lose a pistol, it's pretty much GG. So very important for TSM, and they're spread across the map. This is not good because it allows M80 to really work together towards this B side and take control early.
It's about playing the game of follow the leader, aka follow the Prowler into the side. But with that Viper wall there, it's not looking so cute. So M80 gonna open the door. It's not a fake, and this may be for real. They're gonna grab the orb, and no Omen smoke really blocking their way, so it's easy for M80 to walk in right behind the boom bot. No one on site. TSM want to aim for a retake.
Planted.
And they might have the same scenario here as we had when TSM might have enough utility to retake with. The paint shells is going to be important, but it's head-to-head against Xander in the front of the B site. Needs a heal to come up, and Sim has it.
Oh, TSM. Big kills by Poise. Dog, but a great time swing to use the dog as bait. The flash is going to ping this Killjoy, and what a turn and burn by Sim. Picks up 3 and gives some life, much needed life to TSM.
Maybe you don't need the paint shells when Sim's able to activate like that with some nice little flicks off the ghost. And yes, you are right here, Lemon Kiwi. Be able to get those type of shots, land those type of shots, and have such a clean retake with 4 players still alive. This is a great way to kick things off for your defensive half. You could snowball a couple of rounds coming through here. With the amount of kills that Sim has, they have an opportunity to control orb on A or C quite early with the amount of utility they have, the aggression they can have in their composition, and potentially just bring the same type of storyline that M80 kind of built up on their defensive half with Nismo.
It's TSM, great stop to deal with that pressure, to not want to take the risk of going for a trade at Sandmound. They just, you know, if you want it, it's yours. And TSM, fantastic retake off that point. Now, a lot being dumped in the A lobby. Paint shells, smokes galore. Nobody can see anything, but M80, their vision is towards B, already satcheling in. This gets the attention of Poised, who's just going to play further back. You never know how far extended M80 are going to be out of sight. Now, Paranoia hitting Nismo, staying stern at this door. And TSM got to find a way around this. M80 have a pretty good setup.
They're in a good spot. They 4-spot at this point and controlled Baby Door. Now they can play everything close range as they're rotating around against TSM.
Oh, the double swing, and at least it's traded. Xander playing peekaboo on the low ground, 2 in front. Smoke about to drop. He's got his raise by his side,
no.
and PC check on Xander there through the smoke, but M80 in a 2 versus 1. It's up to Sim that just has
Gotta
to play.
save.
Can't defuse that. Is gonna keep the Vandal.
That, like I said, at some point, it's if we see a gun round for TSM, that's a force buy out of M80 that allows for them to convert this into a round win rather, and even weapon going into only shambles right now in terms of economy for TSM. They only have the Vandals that they saved from Sim on that previous round. The rest are pretty much going to be at maybe if they want to buy around this with the scoreline that you currently have, like almost small shields, and yeah, that's pretty much it. A small shield Vandal to 7 to join up, a Sheriff and small shield, and then just a Sheriff in itself for GMD. So you can definitely see that they pray to God for TSM that they can try to get some rounds in ASAP, so potentially we could have a GMD op later on in the rounds, but time's a wasting here on this first map.
It's great to see the impact of Nitro's IGLing already. On this offense, I feel like M80 look really decisive. They go in with a lot of confidence. They go in fast. They don't play this kind of map dance between all the different sites. And M80 come out on top using the close-range rifles in B site, but Boombot and the Prowler is going to reveal someone is close, especially with all that stomping from Sim. So M80 not feeling too confident about that. Going to quickly go over to A, exchange some shots, put some damage in, and M80 are making quick pace to go towards the site and break through baby door. Nismo surprise GMD, but TSM have a good handle of the B site. The Sheriff is popping off for a Proto, but BCJ is planting.
It's Alex Protopopus pretty much at this point with the Sheriff. Let another one. Let another one. Let's go, A Proto. That is the type of play you want to see coming back from A Proto. From what I love to see him on as like a Cypher or a KJ or a Viper, but it doesn't matter about his util. What I like to commend him about is about his box crosshair that he had, that he coined, and also the way that he shoots that Sheriff. And those were some clean shots to save the round there for TSM.
And that's probably the most decisive round we've seen TSM take.
Yes.
Usually whenever TSM takes a round, it's with like a 1v1 or maybe a 2v1 at the end, but having all 4 players alive is nice. You got a showstopper from Sim. I'm excited. I would love to see that slammed at A lobby, but you flip the coin on the wrong site, and he's looking to be aggressive at C Mound. Meanwhile, M80 taking their time and just seeing what will be thrown at them at A lobby.
Yeah, they just want to wait it out. I mean, they have no money to work with, so they want to make sure to see if there's any type of util that's coming out from TSM on the A side. Now that it's quiet, they could anticipate that it's just a KJ potentially just holding passively towards the A site. So now they could group up as a death ball and at least try to get a plant right now and flood the A site here.
All right, Prowler in. Not getting really much info. M80 stomping in, immediately getting the plant.
Spike planted.
And you got the showstopper from Sim, and right into Xander's face, poised with a great follow-up. M80, how will they trade through all the smoke, the fire, and the flames? TSM hold on to their half, and challenging through the smoke was a risk, and it doesn't pay off for Sim. And now a Proto, maybe the king of smokes, manages to get that revenge on a Nismo, and now it's a 4 versus 2. Koala Noob with not a lot of health, and M80 are so far from their own spike that a good pickup by GMD gives TSM the round.
It almost felt at some point that Nismo was going to work some magic with that Guardian once again, just like he did on the first half, but just too many smokes to try to navigate around that he couldn't get too much value out of it. If anything, it was once again a Proto with that Sheriff that stopped him in his tracks. And you'll take a small dub on this side, though, for M80. You were able to waste out Sim's showstopper when you had a lower buy. You get a plant on your side, and now you have an opportunity to work the econ into your favor. You have a buy here. You're close to another ult for Nismo and Xander. You have the map to work with pretty much on a 3-site map to maybe try to control that a little bit more, so you could have potentially a showstopper on the post plant. But the biggest initiation that you have right now is BCJ's Nightfall. Yes, he's maybe a little bit silent, just like 7 pretty much, but they're both doing such a great role getting information for their team under the Sky/Fade initiator rules. So I'm intrigued to see what M80 is going to try to cook up at this point here. Happy is probably going to try to call some sort of orb control, if I'm not mistaken here, or if I would be mistaken, it is what it is. But they have to try to find a way to maybe try to leverage a little bit more of those ults against TSM's defense.
Couple more rounds to go for M80, where this was quite a significant gap, and TSM really starting to pick things up on their defense. Now that there's less weight on their shoulders to go and plan, do all this objective stuff. Now it's M80 showing the power of their IGLing, taking their first time out, and talking about, okay, they've had a lot of preference towards A and then a quick rotate to B. Where is this Nightfall going to go? And we could see TSM even creep up through that C mound with Sim having that op.
This is big. So right now they have the Nightfall set up on this B side. They can even throw the Nightfall, see how many they ping, and then pivot towards the C door. It depends on this battle. Now they know that Sim has an op on C side. That plan to maybe go for the B to C, let's forget that. And we'll just maybe just plow the A side with their Nightfall here. So the whole pivot comes down at the mid round for M80 here.
TSM have already downloaded the strats. Who leaked the script? Going over to A and okay, Sim. Hello there. And that op is gone for now. But M80 still hope to make their way through A. They kind of fake opened the door, made it look like they're in tree. And TSM have bit the bait. They threw even a flash at tree, didn't get anything. And M80 are quickly running to C.
And that's fine. They got rid of the op there at the beginning for Sim, so they have a feeling that the C side's pretty much open, if not only a Viper or a KG there. You know right now here from the other end, they're going to open this door, use the Nightfall, initiate in the site. It's going to be open, and TSM has to play the retake. Thankfully, though, Koala Noob has 1 HP, so it's very doable for TSM, despite them having the wrong timing and a wrong read of where the hit was coming from.
Koala Noob needs to live. That might be a tough ask with the 1 HP thing going on, but you need these smokes to really protect this site on the post plan. M80 doing just that. And go and sacrifice Koala Noob if we have to, because 1 HP is not a lot, but Xander lives with 8 and gets the Viper's Pit. That may just seal the deal. TSM are trying to push through, and it's up to a Proto and how they win this engagement.
That's it. They save. That's such a crucial kill that Xander had. They kept him inside the site, gave him the confidence to get that kill. They trust him for that kill to drop the pit right after. They have a plant for C mount, so the person at 1 HP, if they have to be the last player standing, could hopefully use the mount as cover and still win potentially a 1 versus 1. But that pit does not allow Poise the Proto to come back, especially when you have an op to try to retake with. And that's a beautiful round for M80 off what could have been a huge TSM flood on that retake. And that, at least now they save the op and the rifle for TSM. They could try to bring that back in this round here. But M80 once again, man, there's I gotta stop fanboying for this M80 squad, but they're looking good. They're looking good.
I like the polar bear watching over them from behind. Poise! I know you're hydrated, but that's a lot of drink on the table. Anyway, 11-6, M80 teleport on the high ground just to see is someone wanting to be aggressive from TSM, and with the op, not so much. But M80 are going to respect that, respect C, and throw a boombot through mid. So M80 want to explore B. And TSM ain't really there, but it's okay. You can play for the retake at B. It is such a tiny site. It is so hard to protect. Better to retake. Door's going to open, and there's an op there. Do M80. No, that elbow just got taken out. Nismo don't want the smoke. The door is closed, and M80 are safe for now.
They felt it. They felt it, but quite surprisingly enough that they still wanted to try to engage that with the rifle instead of going for some sort of operator buy this time around. But they've done it before. They had a perfect trade against the offer on that staircase, but on a revolving door, a little bit more difficult there. And maybe still going to try to pivot towards the C site. The only thing holding them back is a Proto with the orb and the snake bites as he jiggles across. And that's going to give them an opportunity to slow down the clock. And even drop the spike.
Down, C.
Oh, with the snake bite, it got Nitro low enough that it was an easy pick. And usually a Proto doesn't like to stay on site alone. They play for retake, and now they get overwhelmed. M80 in a 3 versus 4, going for the plant. BCJ needs to be protected. TCM all funneling through the same lane. This hallway is gonna get loud. The smoke dissipates. GMT gets ready for the paranoia, and you got the sky flash. And then Koala Noob does their best to hold their own. Xander from down low heard the footsteps from behind, but Poised is just better.
Oh my god, that was so close. Yes, just better, but I don't, again, with one more to stay alive, only one staying alive on the retake for TSM to win rounds where they win retakes is so hard on the mental in the economy as well on top of that. Just having that one single player, Koala Noob, TPing across the molly and getting the timing against a Proto allowed for them to almost win a one player disadvantage that they currently had there on the pulse plant. Again, not afraid of playing in the site instead of playing outside towards mound and trying to play for wallbang sprays. I love this look from M80, but TSM, they're starting to get some rounds together, but I don't know if it's too little too late. I mean, if you're looking at the history of the second half so far, every single time there's been a spike plan for M80. They just haven't been holding their post plan opportunities just like TSM before. But thankfully on their side, they had so many rounds to work with, a 6-round lead.
Oh, this is a different shot for the off. Oh my god, boys. What a flick. Now he's going to leave. You hear the boom bot. You're usually going to see a lady satchel in, so you don't really want to play on that side. I understand. M80 have established themselves on C. They got the lockdown from Nitro going down. TSM coming through the top. They'll have some people mid-cut. They got ults. Poised has his own lockdown.
Yeah.
Is he going to want to use it?
Of course, they're going to move towards Waterfall to try to use it right now. And at the same time, they have a pin to work with. So playing outside of the site is not a good idea here for M80, which is why you're trying to get this look around here from Xander. He's going to have to be quick here.
All right, the lockdown engage from the defense. The retake ensues, and Xander on the flank takes care of the lockdown. Poise is aware, managed to get out. The pit is activated, and a Proto will get the defuse. TSM holding on. This has been a much more successful half for them.
Is this where we're going to have to start hopping off the M80 bandwagon and start hopping on TSM's defense? Because that was looking... That's looking pretty good on how TSM's currently playing right now. Maybe a little bit less flashy in terms of wombo combo in terms of utility. But when it comes down to aggressive position and trying to get first blood picks for TSM, it's looking great. And their retakes are just standard fundamentals that works perfectly right now for TSM. I mean, again, another plant down for M80, another successful defuse for TSM coming through, and only 2 rounds away of tying up the series. And this time, finally, it's M80 that has a low buy. Though they have a showstopper waiting for early util on Mound, they might try to execute here to just try to take down an early A Proto. And you can already see it. He's holding back at the entrance of the spawn behind the pillar so he can try to fall back as soon as he can if he hears the global ult of the showstopper coming out on the attack side.
Smoke from M80. They were hoping to walk into C when there was nothing in their way, but Viper smoke back up for the defense. If you cross, you're going to lose a little bit of HP, and you also don't know if there was a snake bite on the ground. That's what happened to them last time they tried to go in. Now things seem quiet. Paint shell, satchel, ready to go. Nismo pulls the trigger. Showstopper pulled out, and no one's home. Ooh, nice little jump over the snake bite, and well, there is really no one here, so you got to throw the showstopper for nothing. But this is great space being taken by M80.
Yeah, it's never for nothing when you're able to get that space. It all depends on this retake. Now, beautiful paranoia from TSM.
Hey, Poised. Oh, got some info, and they're dancing. It's a 2-2 trade. 3 versus 3. And the spike has been planted. Time is not on TSM's side. And look at the crunch through mid. 7 is just that guy. And you got the op from Sim too. This is one-shot potential. And he's trying to peek around that corner. Now through the smoke, M80 hope to defend as much as they can and maybe prevent this defuse. It's already halfway and can't stick it. It's only up to GMD, and this is about to explode. He's gonna try and stick it, and it won't happen. M80 go to match point.
How can you thank your Valorant gods that all these sprays through the smoke was going to come into your favor, where instantly, as soon as the spike is tapped, they're instantly picked off? In my ranked games, it takes me like a clip and a half and a prayer to God for me to at least try to damage some opponents so that hopefully somebody else can pick up the kill. But every single shots that came out there from Koala Noob and from BCJ in the smoke and also from Mound just allowed for them to win that one. That wasn't a round that was supposed to be won by M80 because TSM played that to perfection.
Well, we'll see if luck will favor M80. They're 1 round away from taking map 1. Ooh, early aggression from TSM to take control of A lobby. M80 splitting up. now going towards C, throwing some smokes, and this KJ, a Poise, has to be ready. Here's the boom bot, and that's usually been the sign that someone is about to satchel in, so TSM call for reinforcements into C, but M80 are taking their time.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, they're trying to at least change the pace that they've been doing. So far, it's just waiting for any type of initial attack, but they've been quite quick on hitting the sites and not really ready to position themselves on a pulse plan. So I think they're trying to punish more players on early aggression on the default that TSM's running. Look at this. They're walking out right now. Nitro's going to get the info, but he just backed away a little bit too early, and Sim was able to pull back from the initial default.
Yeah, TSM, as soon as they threw the Prowler at C, they knew M80 were not gunning for that anymore. It's a quick sprint over to A. And this engagement through Baby Door is what can help M80 try to stabilize. It's a 3 versus 2 now. Oh, like jumping around, trying to get the gun out. And Poise holds it down. Knows there's someone around the corner. And takes care of it all.
Poise, somebody who's been a little bit MIA since his phase days and was trying to find like a little hiatus, trying to figure out what he wanted to do during the offseason. Still had a drive to compete in VCL or try to make Premier if he could, but if he couldn't, it was pretty much going to be GG for him. So giving an opportunity to play under the TSM banner for 2024, also potentially IGLing for this team, and also dropping 3 kills like that to keep TSM alive in this game. This gives a lot of confidence to his IGL and for him to prove that he has what it takes to continue in the challenger scene so far, to make it back to Premier if he can, to make it back to Tier 1. Now the economy is once again broken for M80, a guardian for Qualanoob, using this as pretty much a broken op and trying to get the best value out of this. All of M80 pivoting towards this A side. A double hold out on the A site with KJ utility and a showstopper. This is not looking good if you're M80 trying to walk into the A site.
Yeah, it seemed like a good sequence at first. You know, you teleport into rubble, you get the Prowler going, and M80 now have to swing into the sight line, and Sim throws out the showstopper, but Poise already killed everything. Sim's like, why'd you steal my spotlight, man? And now the Viper wall's in the way, so you take the risk if you go past it, and there's a lot of cooks in this kitchen, but TSM put them all out.
There was an attempt there for M80 to try to seize nade back against a showstopper coming out from TSM. But another round here with M80, at least with the lower economy that they have, they were able to bait out the showstopper on the attack. But at least for TSM's side, you just saw it here before the Zipper replay that you still have a little bit of ult cycling going on here as TSM has a lockdown for Poise, and they've been good using those on those retakes on that C site. For M80, once again, they want to try to gamble it towards the A site with rifles this time around, and also an opportunity to get a showstopper or a pit off a plant.
How this lockdown will be used for Poise could make or break this map. M80 having success at A, you know, minus the fact they didn't win the round, but you gotta just win your gunfights. You gotta shoot better, that's all. And the showstopper was a pain in their butt, along with Poise to kind of piece them up as they were walking in. M80 thinking about C, but they already stomped around. So I think TSM are ready. Yeah, Poise to win the round. Thank you so much. Boombot looking the wrong way or being taken, and there's a flash in a paranoia. Nismo barely gets out.
No way.
And Nitro got a pick over at C somehow.
Through smoke. That's gotta hurt. That's definitely going to hurt. And look at M80 fully pivot towards the A side. They thinned out the defense position on the A side for TSM. They could pick up this orb right now. The tap comes in first just to try to bait it out and to get the kill. Poise again with 2.
Poise! Oh, he's poised to win. See, you gave him the stupid pun, so now he has to pop off.
Yeah, but you know what?
Control.
Yeah, he's my Vietnamese brother, you know, so he hears my puns. He's going to have to step up to the plate, and he does so. And now TSM is one away of pushing this into overtime.
Oh, boys. It's so tough for M80. There's so many little things they got to take care of while they're on their way to A, and they just forgot about the baby door. And there was full vision there for Poise to just piece them up as they're walking into tree. That's so unfortunate.
As a father, you never leave your baby alone. So they got to start focusing on that baby door here from M80 when they're trying to take control of that A site. At least, though, the silver lining is that through these deaths, they have some very strong ults to work with, despite a lower buy here from M80. But Man, this was looking to be a game that was going to be one-sided for M80 from the start. And a storyline where it's supposed to be more attack-sided. Usually when you're playing a map like Lotus in a three-site map. But somehow both of these teams, despite different types of play styles on how they're playing the retakes for the spike plants on the post plants, they've been passing it with flying colors for both M80 and TSM. This is once again day 2 of Challengers, and a great way to start a series one more time. 2 goated teams, 2 goated orgs, just like yesterday.
2 goated casters. You forgot about that one, right?
I mean, at least
right,
Lemon
buddy?
Kiwi and Sierra Dawn. I'm just a fly on the wall, happy to be here.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not your Vietnamese brother. Okay, I don't get to. I don't get to be hyped up like that. But I was hyping up the lockdown.
You could be my honorary Vietnamese sister.
Slay. Okay, but I was talking about Poise's lockdown. I was hyping it up. You know what's big brain? You don't have to worry about your retakes with lockdown if they never take in the first place. So keep that in mind, M80 or TSM. But that was a timeout by M80, and there's a lot to talk about with all the ults they have too.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, right, they have that showstopper. Nismo has found great success off showstoppers and guardians this round, and are using his guardians as an mini type of Odin spray against TSM's potential aggression on the A side, but unfortunately they won't find anything there. So they're keeping the players at bay on the A side. They're trying to potentially leverage a little bit of pivot towards this B side, and decide otherwise after TSM has not thrown any type of utility. They try to regain space towards rubble. Gotta get ready for this baby door though.
Yep, someone's there again. But hey, the Viper wall's blocking it off, so could be checking out who's in tree. TSM ain't holding on to it. They've been good at just smoking off tree and then spraying through the smoke. That's been successful for TSM. But M80 ready for the paranoia entry right onto this raise. A new baby door was a problem before. Nismo has the boom bot ready. Not even gonna wait for the Viper wall to drop. Just gonna see if they're playing close to this baby door corner, and they are not. Showstopper, no one wants to be in this club right now. And the showstopper did scare away the competition as M80 make entry into B. Nismo had to throw that away. The pit activates for Xander, and the spike is planted. Is everything good for M80 to take the round and the map? It's a lockdown from Poise. This is gonna flush out the rats from the sewer.
Yeah, but at the same time, the pit is perfect so that you could stay in the range of the pit while the lockdown's coming through. So M80 is still in a great spot. The spike cleared out the site.
I don't know. Oh, detained. Wow, the luck of 7. And now you get to just spray through this pit even though you're at 1. TSM have to live. It's all up to 7. Now the GMD is dead, and that is all she wrote. Fantastic pit for Xander to give M80 the win.
Oh my God, you're on the edge of your seat for that last round as well. The retake looked like once again it was doable, but it came down to that last little pixel position that they had outside of the radius of that lockdown that was placed by Poise. You can already see it at the beginning though, that when they're working that map for M80 on that round 24, they tried to go for the paranoia from the B main and the rocket to clear out sites. Yes, it doesn't get kills, but at least it still allows for them to get that space to get the plant down and secure the win. But man, it became a very, very difficult win there for M80 to start things off.
Well, at least TSM gave us a good first map. I was going to say good match. There's still more Valorant to go, y'all. And they shook off those nerves, only taking 3 rounds in the first half to almost coming back. We're on the edge of our seats, and we hope that you stay in those seats because we're going to throw it to a quick break. And when we return, more Valorant.
Waited for, any offers, see what people are doing, stuff like that. We really didn't know who's leaving and who's not. It could have been all 5 of us. It could have been 3 of us. Ended up being 2 of us. Whenever we decided to come back and just talk, we wrote down some names. We had some really good players in the trials and stuff like that. And Nitro was going to be the one from the beginning. But as for the initiator role, Brendan probably impressed us the most. He brings what we need, more strict voice. And I think that's what he brings sometimes.
within the span of the last couple of years, I've learned the most about being a leader, and really nice because now I can say I can apply that to my current team. Because before I was like always on the core of Liquid, so and 100 Thieves we kind of built our team, me and Hiko. So it's been interesting. I would say like it's my first time joining a core of players, and so it's been a lot of learning and just learning about how the guys function and all these things. So it's been really nice.
As of right now, it's a new team. We're still working with Happy, the old coach. With 2 new players, especially a new IGL, it is a new team. So we're not going to be at that level we were at like last year, nowhere close. But we're going to work towards that, and I think we're getting there. I feel like with time, this team probably has more ceiling.
It's been really nice. Like the guys have obviously been together for a while, so it's been more about teaching them about myself, figuring out structure-wise with Happy on how we want to approach the team together because it's not the same team. So far, it's been really good. We've had really good scrim results. It's all we can work for right now because the season hasn't started. We've been scrimming for like 7 or 8 months. It feels like at this point, so we're dying to play.
I kind of just want to pretend like, hey, we did that last year, just reset from it though. Let's pretend we're behind and work harder and like get better and all that stuff. I think that's what made us so great last year because I feel like you always have to have the grind mentality no matter what. I feel like that helps us. Yeah, I think the public is probably going to put us at that #1 spot, but we're not really thinking about that stuff. We just want to win games and all that.
I know that these guys have been together for a while, and I know that they have a lot of chemistry together, so it's more about me just being able to like integrate myself and also teach them everything I know about IGLing, and they wanted someone who was more experienced, and I have a lot of lane experience, so that's kind of what they were going for. And I was kind of just like, for me, it made the most sense to join this team if I didn't have any like serious VCT offers that I would consider. They were like the next best thing, especially considering how good they did last season. We have a lot of good things that we've been cooking. We can't wait to show it in our official matches and hopefully take it home this year for M80 as an org and get that franchising slot. I think we're super motivated to get that slot.
It's not going to be the same old, style we played. It's going to be a lot different. I feel like it's going to be like a fresh new M80, and I think that's always exciting. I think we're still going to be that puggy team that just runs at you and shoots you like better than anyone else can.
Peace.